Hello. So I wanted to record a review about Gundam 0080. And the problem there is that, in my opinion, 0080 doesn't really come together until its last few moments. It's not a complaint, it's that all the themes are really woven together in those last few moments of the OVA. And since I want this to be a spoiler-free review, that makes my job somewhat complex. But suffice to say, so 0080 concerns itself with a young boy who gets in the middle of a covert military operation during the One-Year War, which is sort of the core conflict within the Gundam universe, and certainly the genesis conflict of all the other stuff that happens in Universal Century. And the main character, this boy, is sort of a military nut, which is one of the interesting things that the story plays off of. And he gets involved in this, sort of in the middle of this military operation between some Zeon operatives on a colony. And it's one of the remarkable things about 0080 is the fact that the story is pretty low-key throughout the entire thing. And it's about, I think, a 4-episode OVA, if I recall correctly. The nice thing is that, as a result, an OVA is typically made more for the fans. So it's not trying to appeal to a broad demographic. So the characters are pretty realistic and pretty normal. You don't get all of the ridiculous anime stereotypes you get in some shows. So 0080's characters are perhaps not amazingly nuanced, especially considering the length of time we have to know them. But they aren't trying to be stereotypes, for lack of a better word. And because it's about a covert military operation, it's not as action-heavy as other Gundam stories, which lets it tell a story that's about people in a specific situation kind of doing their best. It's not so much about the crisis that so many characters are in Gundam series. Yes, there's certainly a fundamental crisis in here, but it's more of a driving force for the plot as opposed to a direct, this is happening, we've got to react to it right now kind of a storyline. Which is one of the reasons I think some Gundam fans don't like 0080 because of its more slow pacing and because of its just more deliberate storyline. It's not as action-oriented because it's about a covert operation. And much of it happens, in the light of day. It's just folks trying to get things snuck past guards under their noses. And so this operation continues, and it ends on a note, and again, trying not to be spoiler-heavy here, it ends on a note that really drives home one of the primary themes of Gundam, which is how war is a tragedy and how it irrevocably changes people. 0080 really deals with that theme of war's horrible effects on people, somewhat like the way the Grave of the Fireflies does. Now, it's not nearly as dark as Grave of the Fireflies is, certainly in terms of Grave's ultimate ending, but 0080 certainly is mining the same field and trying to cover the same sort of territory. And by the end, it certainly drives that point home. But fortunately, again, in a way that doesn't make you want to completely slit your wrists at the end, which is very fortunate. Now, it's quite a few years old, several decades. So the animation and art style is I would say a little dated by now. Unfortunately, they clearly did not have a ridiculously huge budget for 0080 compared to, say, 0083 or 8th MS Team. So, the character designs have a very 80s quality to them, and or maybe early 90s quality to them, and moreover, it doesn't look as good as some other Gundams do. But this is all about the story and about the themes that it's trying to get across, which is a wonderful thing. And 0080 is, for my mind, one of the more cogent Gundam series in terms of getting across specific themes and specific ideas very clearly to the audience. At the end, there's complete clarity as to what it's trying to say, and you really feel it very deeply, you really understand it. So I was certainly impressed. I think it's a remarkable little work. So that's Gundam 0080. Go ahead and bounce over to streamsuki.com if you want to see if you can find it streaming online legally somewhere. Streamsuki is a site I maintain, which lists a whole bunch of legal free anime streams. It is licensed by Bandai, was released over here in America a while ago, and I'm sure discs are available used all around. So hope you get a chance to check it out sometime, especially if you like a more thoughtful and more serious story than most anime that we see. So that's it. Thanks. Take care.